Welcome, welcome. Here we are for our third and final installment, lucky for all of you, of our Drinking with Joe. That's what I like to call it. I'm Sarah Haven. I'm here with Monica Miller. And of course, as always, the man of the hour, Joe France. Thanks, Joe. And we've been doing these videos because our big wine sale is happening. It's online now. You can put your orders in right now. Just go to our website at gallery-one.org. And you'll see it right on the front page. Start shopping for your wine, and pickup day is June 13th. So Joe tonight has some highlights for us to point out some particular wines, one of our new wineries I know we're going to be tasting this evening. So that's what we're up to. Take it away, Joe.
Yeah, what we're going to do tonight is we've got 4 different wines we're tasting, 3 of which are from Grow Grain, a new Walla Walla winery. And they do some interesting things with Italian wine, grapes, French, Spanish, but there are several things in their repertoire that you don't find very often. So they're very interesting. I like their wine a lot. If you go on to our website, you can catch a link to Margie Morgan's podcast about them, as well as other wineries that we have. But we're going to start out first with one of our 4 Albariños we have on our list this year, and that's the Grow Grain Albariño. This is totally dry, all done in stainless steel. So
a lot of the wines that we've tasted have been in oak. Is this the first one we've tasted that has been, what do you call it?
Stainless steel.
Cast in stainless steel?
Well, aged, if you will. It's after it's fermented, it's aged for a short amount of time, generally in stainless steel. It's just waiting for when they put sulfites in for that to bond, and those to bond and be ready to drink. So it's not like sticking them in oak and waiting for the oak to have an effect on that wine.
And so that's going to impact the flavor, right? Is that what makes it so crisp?
Well, it's inert. Stainless steel is inert, so the idea is not to change the flavor of the grapes. You put oak on so you can add some different flavorings from the oak, and also add their tannins that are in oak that allow red wines to last longer. So
this must be why I like the Albariños, because I'm not a big oak fan, so I like this flavor profile a lot better.
You just get a lot more of the oak without the effect. You get a lot more of the wine, the grape, without the effect of oak on it. So yeah, a lot of whites, most wine people prefer them without oaking. Chardonnay is a big oaker. Most people like Chardonnay with oak, but Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Gris, Albariño, there's a number of white wines that are just better because of that vibrant fruit that they have, and their acidity all comes forward without being put in oak. And this is one of them, Albariño, from the northern northwest corner of Spain is where you find a lot of them. They're also down in Portugal, but they started in Spain. So nice, light, big fruit, good with shellfish especially, or any kind of whitefish, or light appetizers is a Albariño.
It's so good, and we have so many wines. I'm just going to toss it back, and we're going to keep going, right?
So this is the Albariño from Grow Grain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grow Grain.
And I think the S is silent, but I'm not 100% sure there.
You told me it was, Joe. I'm going with it.
Well, that may be what I read somewhere, but it's a type of stitching that they do when you're making things from fabric. It's a stitch type.
Oh, wow.
And that's why the label has Grow Grain as a pattern. That's the pattern.
Thank you.
We should have asked one of our textile artists about that name. But,
yeah.
Oh.
Is it bad? I'm ready for number 2. What's
number
next?
2. Save a little for your hubbies tonight if you dare. You might not want to. But,
no, that's not how this works.
Well, never mind. Number
I'll tell
two.
him you said so, Joe, but no, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
You know what? I am going to try to save this Albarino because I'm doing crab stuffed baked potatoes for dinner.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
put it back in the fridge and you should be okay. Number two, a lightly sparkling from Grosgrain. It's called Petnat, Petnat, Lemberger. Lemberger is a red grape. Came from Bavaria, Germany area. It's known over there as Blaufränkisch. Kind of sounds like that lady in, with a humpback in the movie.
Are you talking about Young
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
Young Frankenstein movie.
Yes.
Frau Blankisch.
Yes. Frau Blucher. I've totally remember that.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie many times.
Yep. Well, look how light it is. It's barely pink. Lemberger is a dark red grape. Okay, so when you make a rosé, you don't have too much skin contact time with the grape, the red grape. So you get just a very little bit of color, because that's where the color in a red wine comes from, is the skins. And if you take the skins off of the juice after a short period of time, you just get a little pink. The other thing that makes what's called a petnat is, instead of like champagne, where you go through the alcoholic fermentation and then you put it in bottles and put them upside down in a rack, that's when they do a second fermentation. They put in another yeast that develops the bubbles. Well, this gets its bubbles because they took the juice out of fermentation while it was still fermenting. And when you're fermenting, it develops carbon dioxide. They took it off of that and bottled it then, and it's called it's au naturel. It's not like you add a second yeast that starts another fermentation that develops the carbon dioxide. So this is skipping that step. So it's, if you remember, well, we had a wine a couple of years ago at Jazz in the Valley that College Cellars did that used the same process. It was a Grenache rosé. Well, Grosgrain has this Lemberger, and they also have a Semillon Petnat. And those two bottles are in that special bottle category specials that we have. So if this is really pretty good. I'm actually enjoying it.
It's really light.
Really light and just perfect on a hot summer day. And just to highlight that little specials thing for Grosgrain, you're getting two of them in there, one from a white and one from a red. I think people ought to take a look at that, because it's really pretty good.
Of those proceeds go directly to the gallery, because each winery
donated
something special to us for this fundraiser. Well, I'm going to take a look at that.
When we picked these up last Wednesday from Matt, the owner down in Walla Walla, picked up our wine down there. He said that this Lemberger was their most popular wine in the summer, obviously.
I believe it.
Yeah, you're out on a patio with this, you can, oh my goodness, you can put a couple of bottles down pretty easily, amongst four people.
It's a little dangerous. You could, toss it back pretty easily.
And do you know why? Here's an obscure point. You know why bubbly makes you feel better quicker?
Oxygen goes right to your head.
It blends in with your bloodstream quicker with the bubbles.
Right, bloodstream to the head.
Yep.
I learned that in my mass training.
There you go.
Long ago.
So works better quicker.
You mentioned with the Albarino, you mentioned sulfites.
Yep.
Can you describe what the function of sulfites are in a wine? Because I know not all of them have them.
All wines have sulfites.
Really? I thought I've seen
organic,
non-sulfite. I feel like it's.
Yeah, you gotta watch that, because inherent in the winemaking process, sulfites are naturally developed while it's going through its fermentation. What these wineries say when they say no sulfites, they should say, and they probably do in the fine print on the back label, no sulfites added.
Oh.
there are natural sulfites in every wine that you get. So
False advertising a little bit.
well,
fibbing a
they're
little bit.
you know, they're walking the thin line.
And
Why
what is the
winemakers,
role, what is the role of the sulfite? So what?
sulfites prevent unwanted bacteriological formations after you have bottled the wine. If there's any uncleanliness in the whole winemaking procedure, it can develop in the bottle after you bottled it, and then you open it up and it's like, oh, what's that ugly smell? Well, it's because it can come because there's bacteria that were in there when they bottled it. If they add sulfites, which most all winemakers do, those kill off any unwanted bacteriological growth once it hits the bottle. Yeah, people who have sulfite reactions, those wines, even though once that happens, what I call bonding, the sulfites have to bond with the molecules of the wine, and then once that happens, the little smell that's in there from sulfites magically goes away.
But look, I'm ready for
Oh, you
That's
are.
our
fine.
Gros Grain Petite, right? Is our next wine, I believe.
Gros Grain Petite.
Yes.
And what it is their most affordable white wine. Retails for $24 a bottle.
Red.
And
Yeah,
and,
red wine.
red wine.
I
It's a
like
little-
the way that one smells. Oh, that's a full pour.
Me too, Monica. It's really nice. Like I really noticed when I was smelling it. I don't know. It's I'm smelling a lot of different things in there.
Well, yes, and you know what? If you smell this, you'll go, oh, I call them earthy tones. It's not like dirt or anything, but there's fruit, but it's just got kind of this little, a musty kind of a thing for it in there, very mild. And I go, that's a Rhone wine. Rhone wines from the south of
I know.
France.
I go say it's a river in France.
Yeah, the Rhone River. And Rhone varietals tend to be, catch this, you're gonna really have fun with this. They usually combine for a Rhone red, the three reds they do a lot is Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvedre. And if they blend them in the right configuration, it would be more Grenache, less Syrah, and less Mourvedre, and we call that a GSM. You may have heard of that, a GSM wine. Well, this one has more Mourvedre, then Syrah, and then Grenache. So we call it an MSG, and we go, oh, that's monosodium glutamate. So this wine will put you to sleep.
So this is good, yeah, with certain kinds of foods then? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, even without foods.
I want to drink this with morels.
Yeah, mushrooms, perfect. Do morels in a sauce with pasta or on a steak, if you like that. Yeah, nice wine, isn't it? This is a nice little wine.
It is nice. And what is it called? Okay, it's the Gros Grain.
Petite Gros Grain, they call it.
Oh, just
Petite Gros Grain.
But so is petite the kind of grape?
No, in this case, they mean a small Gros Grain, a
Right.
petite Gros Grain. It's
Okay.
not a big, huge one. If they did a big, huge one, they would probably put Syrah as a primary grape, or Grenache, or Mourvedre would be the third grape. So my supposition is that this is a little lighter than if you did a bigger blend. You switch those grapes around, it would make it more fuller body.
They would call it a grande.
Well, they could, but they just don't. But anyway, yeah, kind of like the burrito you got last night.
It's throwing me off because I always I'm like, okay, that's the name of the grape, that's where it's from, and it helps like identify its origin. But now it's just like a petite grape, but these grapes are all from Walla Walla, right?
Right, and here you go. Anything you find that doesn't have a grape in the name, it's probably because not one of the single grapes is more than 75%, because you can't call it the grape,
Right.
that wine, unless it's at least 75% of the blend in the state
It's
of
a
Washington.
blend. Okay, all right.
So this is a blend, and they come up with a name. Yeah.
I
As
love.
someone who's a little slower to like the red wine, I really like this one. This
Oh.
is really nice. It's very easy, smooth. I like it.
It's got less tannins than a big Cabernet or
Mm,
something like that. It's a little softer. You don't feel your mouth drying out quite as much.
yeah.
Bingo. There you go. That's why. It's easier to drink if you aren't a big red drinker.
This is the point where we flash Joe's number on the screen.
That's right.
Call
Just
Joe.
call Joe.
Call-
Please, I'm waiting. The phone lines are open.
wow. that
No
was great.
kidding, because
That was
I know
very
you're,
good.
yes, on calls every day with so many of our people and our regulars, helping them work out their wine orders.
Oh, QVC, look out. Here we come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're switching,
Ready?
right? From Grosgrain
Ready.
to Airfield for our last wine.
Oh, God, this is
Airfield
hardcore.
Malbec.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the color. It's darker.
Oh, my.
It's so dark. It's really, really dark.
Malbec's one of the darkest wines. That happens to be with the colors that are in the skin. There aren't too many darker. Zinfandel and Petite Syrah are darker, but this is one of the darkest ones.
Woo!
And this one will make your mouth dry.
It's spicy.
Yes, it
Spicy,
smells spicy
and
and a little bit smoky, maybe a little bit in there.
that may be an effect of the type of oak they use. Again, oak generally generates earthy tones and smoky. So probably saw more newer oak than the
Yeah.
Grosgrain did.
Yeah.
Okay, can you say the name of it again? I was distracted by facilitating my wine glass distribution.
Go
here.
ahead, Sarah.
It's an
Tell her what it
Airfield
is.
Malbec.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And I tasted this 7 or 8 months ago when they released it at a little release thing they had at the winery. And I personally, due to my own tasting foibles, I sometimes don't get a lot of aromatics or flavors out of Malbecs early on when they're made. And that night when I smelled and tasted this, I just kind of like, wow, what hit me in the middle of the forehead? That was a big wine that I could describe some things I smelled and tasted. And I still do. I think this is an exceptionally good Malbec. And I'd like to see more people give it a shot out there because it's worth it. It's worth its money. But
It's tax-free.
Tax-free. Get up there. You're going to get your free glass when you buy your wine and get your little script we give you. So you'll get a free glass of the upcoming First Friday. So this is a big wine. This would be a steak wine. This would be anything, just a lot of food, heavier food type stuff.
When
But
you
boy,
said,
there's some real aromas and flavors in that.
yeah, when you said that those aromas and flavors hit you when you tried it, like what were those aromas and flavors that came to you?
Well, I got a little bit of follow on kind of from the barreling, the little smokiness, but I get some real dark fruit. Dark, not quite blackberry or anything like that, but it's really like a dark plummy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, plum.
I was thinking plum. Absolutely.
Yeah, dark plum, and you got a little spiciness in there. Again, that could come from the type of barreling. You can get spiciness from different French versus American oak. You get a little more spice there.
I feel like that that quench that happens makes me want to eat something with it. And I remember from our last episode, you describing some, the effects of eating on the flavors and the chemistry that's happening, right? Like where if we had some cheese right now, that fat would sort of like coat our mouths and maybe not have that quenching effect.
Yeah, that or just a little slice of salami, or if you're having a steak, same thing happens. You put fats in your mouth, they coat your saliva glands so they aren't affected by the tannins in the wine that kind of tend to make your saliva glands not do what they're supposed to do. so your mouth gets dry. So if you had some cheese, not a hard cheese, but a softer cheese that's got more fats in it, or some meat, this would be a little bit softer on your palate. It would like glide over instead of going zap
Mm-hmm.
your palate. But still you get that beautiful dark fruit that's in there.
I feel
So-
like this is a wine I would buy to impress my friends, because when I think about wine, like this is the kind of taste I imagine having, right? With that, I mean, we just had 4 wines that tasted so different.
Exactly.
From like the
Yeah.
Albarino that was a lot more like just crisp and
Crisp.
bright, and you know, this is more that this feels like an adult wine.
Don't worry, you get to count yourself as that. But it is like you said, it's a big, like
Yes,
heavy,
wine.
like this is the wine. It's like wine with a capital W. Big wine.
Let me bring out my Airfield Malbec
Right.
that I got from the Gallery One wine sale with the vintage of what's it from?
2017, I believe it
Like
was.
2017 Airfield Malbec. Like I would bring that out in a moment, and I would put like the actual wine glasses out for people. I just feel like it would be that
Oh yeah, you have
wine moment that we all want to share with people.
serve it with a real good glass so they get all those aromatics. And this is more, I think you can see, this would be more of a sipping wine that, well, this little bubbly we had, that's not what I would necessarily call a sipper. That's a big sipper.
Yeah,
Easy
if
to
you guys
sip.
still have some,
Quick.
you're doing better than me. So
Yeah, I know.
there
Oh,
you go.
here,
I got empty
let me-
glasses over
I got
here.
this new connection. I can transfer that through the internet. But
I could
this
use some more,
red
no
is
problem.
a sipper and an enjoyer. You just sit there and just enjoy. It takes you a little longer to enjoy a glass of this, as it should. And it's a fun one to, yeah, it's a good wine, a very good wine, and nobody knows too much about it. I mean, it's not on everybody's radar.
Mm-hmm.
And a few more people should put it on their radar.
Of like the different events for different kinds of wines. Like I feel like the Albarino is a little bit more, like you said, it's a hot summer day. It's a little bit more of like a party wine, like by the pool and with appetizers you mentioned, and like the the pet nat, right? Pet nat, did I say that right?
Pet nat.
Like I can see doing that for just like a fun moment. Like, hey, I have something sparkly. It's not a champagne.
It's one of your lead-in. It's one of your lead-in wines if you're having a party with a variety of courses of things. This is it's just a nice little starter. It's a great starter.
And then like this, like Malbec being kind of like that finish for everyone sit down and take a minute.
Yeah.
Eat food, this beautiful meal, whatever it is. Steak or morels or crab stuffed baked potatoes.
Yeah. Anything big like that, it would be a wonderful. I think I might have a baked potato tonight now that you're saying that.
You got to put it in the oven now. It takes forever. Well, what I've loved about the last 3 sessions is really learning about the variety of kinds of wine, but also thinking about the variety of experiences that wine can plug into. And if you'll forgive me for a second, I also feel like that is something that the Gallery One is really good at in terms of art, because art can also do that. So art can be a catalyst for this like kind of conversation in specific moments, and the wine is doing it for me right now. So I really appreciate you like sharing and teaching us over our we had 3 courses, 3 lessons and courses with you that I think have taught me a lot about the different kinds of wines and experiences that wine can create, which is really important for us as a community to have something like that available to us, and somebody like you available to us.
That's an understatement.
Thank you for your kind comments, and I'm looking forward. We're getting back going safely. And I'm looking forward to the times that we can enjoy our Friday nights, First Fridays, and other types of events. But we recognize that we have to do it correctly, and that's important because we all want to be there to see each other in the future.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this wine is like a promise for the future, and like a nostalgia for our like communal gatherings where we sit down at these meals and parties to share.
You two are much more eloquent after all this wine than I could possibly be.
For anyone who made it to the end, to encourage people to get their orders in now prior to the pickup date on June 13th. I think that some wines will have limited availability. So as soon as you
especially all the specials, right, Monica? All the specials are like buy it now, like that's all that's available. So don't miss out on those.
Yeah, anything that you're thinking you might want, it's like important to get in there. And the website is super easy to use. But if you have any issues, you can call Joe or the gallery, and we will walk you through it, either in terms of talking to you about the wines themselves or just how to use the site. And once you make that easy order, we will have it ready for you on June 13th for pick up from 10 to 4 at the gallery. Walk in. Presumably everything's been paid for, so it's really just a pickup situation, and you can come in and see the exhibit we have on display and say hi to your favorite board members, and Sarah and I will be there to help facilitate the process.
But you can still buy. You can still buy on that day.
Oh,
that's right.
If you forgot something, come back. We can get you taken care of.
And if you don't know what to buy one of everything.
There you go.
Give it a big try.
It's a good recommendation. Well, next time we'll have to make an item for that, just a one of everything item.
Well, I've been watching the orders come in, and I'm thinking, oh, you can get that many bottles for that much and that many bottles for that much. Like, okay, I could try to get maybe a 12 and get a big variety of wines for X amount of money. Like, I feel like there are options to spend to get a lot for your money, basically.
Bang for your buck. That's what you're getting at.
Yes, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant.
And these are real good wineries. These are wineries we've had for years and years for the most part. As we tasted tonight, Grosgrain is our newbie, and they deserve a try by a lot of people. They're doing some really good stuff, but in what happened this year, it makes it tough for anybody that's new into an industry. Give them a shot. They're making good stuff, and all the other wineries are people we've had, and if you bought before from us, you know what those guys are like. So we appreciate your support tremendously.
Yes.
Aww. Well, on that note, maybe we could stop recording.
Yeah.
Good night.